No idea if we're on. Are we on? Do you reckon that means we're on, Ty? Do you reckon that means we're on, Neil? I haven't got a clue what's going on. It's brought a smile to my face, though. Welcome to the post-match pie. I'm absolutely seething. I hate to lose to Manchester United at home. Doesn't matter what we do. And it's happened again today. I don't know why I'm so annoyed, because I should have expected it. This is the Purity post-match point on the Villa View. I'm joined by Ty Bracey and Neil Dunworth. And Ty, you've been laughing at me for the last 5 minutes. I'm absolutely seething, because we do so well in the first half, and then we just capitulate, just some stupid decisions, and where we end up throwing the game, and then the red card at the end as well. It's just a disastrous afternoon in the end, and it didn't have to be that way.
Yeah, defo, mate. We welcomed a bit too much pressure early on in the first half, but then, for the last half an hour, I think we were great for the first half. The last 30 minutes of the first half, I think we were looking promising. And then, as soon as, Dougie's giving him way too much contact in the box anyway, and then he's going away from the goal, and then he's just, it's clever from Pogba. He's put his leg in the right place, and Dougie's took him out, and that's it. It's curtains, and then you can just see heads have dropped from them, mate. And that was just a day in the life of a Villa fan for me. If there's one way to sum it up, it's just one of those frustrating games where, again, we could have got something, but a turn of events just changes it all.
Yeah, Neil, you were saying before we came on that you've got a load of mates that are Man U fans. You call them mates. You shouldn't be friends with them. There's no reason for them to support Manchester United at all. I'm not even going to bother doing a preview or a post-match show next season against Manchester United at home, because it is just pointless. Because we're just cursed. We are never, ever going to, while I'm alive, we will never beat Manchester United at Villa Park. It's just not going to happen.
No, I don't know what to think about that game today. Like, realistically speaking, if you had a bingo card of what could have happened to Aston Villa against Manchester United, you would have had bingo by 60 minutes today. Actually, you probably wouldn't have. By the end of the game, red card for something silly, stupid penalty, Villa taking the lead, playing really, really well, tails up, conceding 2 goals in 4 minutes. They're all the bingo card stuff that you just tick off, and then that's when Villa do it. When something goes wrong against United, it goes massively wrong. And it's like, that's just what happened. That penalty, maybe Martinez should have saved the second goal. Mings shouldn't get turned for it. All these little things, these mental mishaps, that seem to have happened. Look, they've cost us the game today. And then, at the end, I'm even looking at it here, and I'm probably running point stand. But looking at the end here, there's contact between Dean Henderson and there's a still shot here. And look, that's the synopsis of the game in 60 mad, infuriating 60 seconds there. But no, I don't know what to make of it. So 25 years trying to beat them in Villa Park, and it's now going to go into the 26th year, and there we go. Yeah, there we go.
It just doesn't make sense, does it?
There's contact there.
He's looking for it. He's looking for it. Like, he's perhaps gone down a little bit early, but I tell you what, players do that every week in every game, and there was never a yellow card for it.
Paul Pogba was just looking for contact in the penalty area, and he got it.
I've got to say, I thought Luiz was absolutely brainless for the penalty. There's no excuse for that. It's 100% a penalty. I thought it was sheer stupidity. And to be honest, you said the players would have been deflated after that. If I was one of his teammates, I'd have just been thinking, what on earth has he done that for? And you would be deflated. Second goal as well, it's too easy. Mings has made it too easy for Greenwood. I'd have to see it back again. I'm not sure. Martinez got a pretty big hand on it. I thought perhaps he should save it. Cavani scored a customary late goal for Manchester United, although it's had no bearing on the game. But they get a penalty. I've no complaints with it. It was a penalty. But Ty, I think we should have had a penalty for the handball. If you're telling me that's a natural position, Matty Cash got one given against us, against Man City away. I'm not really sure what's the difference.
I don't think there is any difference, and I think it boils down to we've spoke about it in previous games, mate. It's the standard of refereeing for me. I think it all depends on who's at Stockley Park. In another game that's given.
It sounded like they looked at it for a long time as well. Why is the ref not even going to the screen?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, dude. It's just again one of those things where everything's against us, and the thing is, with the Ollie penalty as well, he's running full pelt. What do you want him to do? Do you want him to clatter Henderson and both of them get injured? Like, what do you want him to physically do? Like, there is contact there, and yeah, he has gone down a little bit early, but he ain't on the floor screaming penalty.
No.
If you watch him back anything, and then it's a booking, and the thing is, it's not just a booking. It's we've now got to go into another game. I mean, touch wood, thank goodness we're not going down to the last game of season again. But imagine if we was, and then there's 4 games left, and we're without Ollie Watkins. It's just one of those things that's just it's not needed, and I think it's poor refereeing.
I mean, you're saying about the bingo card now. This potentially should have been 3 penalties in that game. The one that gets given is the Manchester United one. The 2 that don't get given, the Villa ones, and then you get to compound it, you get a man sent off for one of them as well. It's just, honestly, as I've said, I'm not doing the preview next year or the review after. It is pointless.
Yeah, I might even
not
join
really a
you
question
in that.
there for you, to be honest. But
I might even join you in that as well. You know what? Let's just put a complete another coverage blackout for United games, because it's always the same. We look like we're running around with our head on fire after the games because we're trying to make sense of not just one thing, not just 2 things, but usually multiple things against Manchester United. It's like as if I don't know. It's not even a mental thing anymore. It's like as if it's a curse. It really is.
It's
like
curse.
And I can't figure it out because there's no way of reasoning those 4 minutes whereby the penalty is given and then Mason Greenwood with a tame shot just goes in at the near post. That just doesn't happen. That doesn't happen to Villa against United in the opposite sense. But it always happens in one way. Why is it always one-way traffic? There has to be a reason for it. And it's you change the teams, you change the manager, you change the setting, you change the buoyancy, you change what happens prior to it. But all these things just always seem to happen every single time, and it's a study point. There's surely some mathematical or scientific reason for it. There just has to be. It can't be divine intervention every time Manchester United just put on what I would consider the worst jerseys in Premier League history that they were wearing today. Whenever they put those on against Aston Villa, the United jersey, they just kick into this steeped in luck mode. Like, what is it? And I should know, being from the land of the Lucky Leprechauns, but I have no idea what the hell. Maybe we just need more Lucky Leprechauns to go over and sit in the stands in Villa Park for a while. Maybe when we can get back in there, that will change things up. But I'm even talking nonsense now because I just can't make any sense of it.
I mean, this show's come way too soon for me. I can feel my media career going down the toilet with my reaction to this. I might not even go to Villa Park for the game next year. It just feels like a complete waste of time. Let's try and review the game a little bit, Ty. Let's go back to the start. I thought for the first 10 minutes, I thought we not gave them too much respect, but I thought we were a bit overeager. I thought we pressed a little bit too much, and they looked really dangerous. And I thought, whoa. This is the best Manchester United side there's been since Fergie, probably. That they look like they're heading in the right direction here. That they look dangerous. They've got some phenomenal players. We're in a little bit of trouble here, but we then kind of consolidated and grew into the game ourselves and picked our moments, started to attack at the right time. I mean, I felt like we were a team that loved defending again in the first half. I didn't feel that way in the second half. I felt like we hated defending, but in the first half, there was a lot of good signs.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Dan. Traore doing Traore things. He was definitely lacking defensively. You could see that we were struggling down that right hand side. They were pressing us down that side. They could see that was where they could get through and create their chances. And and then Bertie goes and does Bertie things and scores an absolute screamer. Yeah, and it's hard to reflect on, when you look at a scoreline and see you've lost 3-1, and to think that, you've watched a game and you think, how have we come out of that and lost 3-1? Usually it's we have a bad first half and then we go into a second half a bit better after a good telling off in the dressing room. But, this time round, I felt like we had a good first half and an absolute mare in the second half. I think we should have definitely come with at least a point out of that. I thought collectively as a team in the first half, apart from those first 10, 15 minutes, I thought everybody looked great. I thought everybody was playing their part, and there was a little part of me that was going through, do you know what? maybe we're not that bad without Jack, but then, you know, when it falls apart and you don't have that Jack magic, that's where you start to see the cracks show. And, you know, that's why he's our captain at the end of the day, not just because, you know, he's a boyhood Villa fan, because of his work rate and his ability on the pitch is what motivates everybody else to do great things on the pitch. And, you know, that's what we're missing on the field. You know, as much as we've got Mings, a vocal leader, you know, Jack does it in his actions, in everything that he does. And, you know, I think we're just desperate for him back now. 12 games without him, mate. You know, it's a third of a season.
Yeah, he'll have hated having to sit there and watch that game as well. The guy loves playing football. He wants to be playing. He wants to play in all the games, but he particularly wants to be playing in these big games against the best players in the Premier League. And it is a shame that he's been out for so long. Neil, we've done a lot of good work in that first half, and I think that's what probably makes the game so frustrating. That in a mad 4 or 5 minutes, all that just gets forgotten and it gets undone because the penalty is brainless. Mings should have done better with the Greenwood turn. Martinez perhaps should save it, and it's these things, these key decisions in pivotal moments that will cost you.
Yeah, the first half work was fantastic. I thought a lot of places. Ross Barkley was playing more or less up as a second striker. Once again, another thing that I need to get tattooed on me somewhere as well. I've said it so many times this year. That's where he's probably best playing. A couple of times there, we saw that the spacing between McGinn and Louise was quite good in the first half. I did think Louise was a small bit open at times, but they've got a fantastic midfield. But what I loved about what we did in the first half was Ross Barkley was interchanging between Fred and McTominay, and I genuinely forgot that McTominay was playing until about the 30th minute because he just couldn't get anything in the game to start off with. Our wingers played okay. Yes, Bertrand Traore didn't track back an awful lot in the first half, and Luke Shaw kind of ate his dinner running down that side quite a lot. And in fairness to Luke Shaw, he's had a fantastic season, and you know, it bodes well for England, I think, the form that he's in, because he is a threat up and down that wing. And, you know, you take a look at him, and I know he's had some stick for maybe being a bit in the chunkier side, but he doesn't lack for effort when he goes up and down that wing either. And he gave, you know, Bertrand Traore didn't track him a couple of times. He had a shot and Martin crossed in a couple of good balls. But I think all in all, we wrote our luck maybe minute period in the first half, but we were comfortable enough. At one stage, a bit popped up on the screen to say that over a 10-minute period, like we had nearly 70% possession. So we came to play, and we did play against Manchester United for good periods of that first half. And we went in 1-0 up, and, you know, that goal was absolute screamer. And, you know, you should really be capitalising on that. But I do feel that after we did score the goal, I was kind of hoping for half-time to come, because they were beginning to push at the end of that first half. And they came out with their work mentality in the second half, and we were a bit sluggish, and we paid the price, you know, in the first 10 minutes of the second half, unfortunately.
Yeah, I should have said this at the start, really, when we went back. Actually, Ty, they paid us an enormous amount of respect today with the team that they picked. I thought they might rotate a couple, leave a few players out. They pretty much went full tilt against us, and you can always tell when Man U think they're going into a big game or a game that's going to be tough, because McTominay and Fred will be the axes in front of the back four. They paid us an incredible amount of respect today.
Yeah, I mean,
their schedule was manic.
Yeah, and rightly so. I mean, Ollie. I think Ollie came out and said, you know, I think they've got a triple game week this week with 3 games. So I think he said that everybody isn't going to play in those 90 minutes in all of those games. You know, everyone will get some form of rest. But the respect should have been given, you know, because of how we did against Everton. You know, we showed up against Everton, and we showed that we can play without Jack on occasion. So, you know, I think the respect was warranted. And, you know, us being 1-0 up at halftime showed that we should have been shown respect, because we had a really good first half. But then we just showed, you know, where our flaws are in the second. And, you know, that's part of the problem when we concede a goal. When we concede a goal, the heads drop. You know,
another one always comes to, well, not always, but, you know, because he didn't against Everton, but we concede, and invariably another one will come straight after that. That feels like something that's happened quite a lot this season. I can't go back now and pick out a game. Maybe the Leeds home game is one that's just popped into my mind, but it feels like there's been a few games where once we concede one, another one comes after, and that's still a bit of a hangover from last season, because that was something that we did towards the back end of last season before it came good as well.
Yeah, it's one of the, and I think we need to. it's the heads dropping, isn't it? And it's easy to say, "Come on, lads, keep your head up," But when you concede a sloppy penalty, when you've been, in my opinion, the better team up until that point where we are 1-0 up and they equalise, I think we've got to snap out of that mentality that the game's over. I think that's a problem that. As soon as they scored one, I knew that we weren't going to win that game. I knew it wasn't finishing 1-1. Give them the confidence that they needed, and it took the confidence that that we had. So, I'll be honest. As much as I hate to say it, when you're playing against Man United, which somehow seemed to be our bogey team. I mean, obviously, they were the better side. They have got a better side. They're in second place for a reason. But after it had gone 1-1, mate, I knew that it was curtains. We weren't winning that game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go over the goals again, Neil. But so let's go to the penalty that I think we should have had. Can you explain the handball rule to me? Do you know it? I mean, does anyone know it? That you would in another game that pen does get given. You could probably something that could happen in the next game that's on Sky, and the people VAR they might give it. There's just zero consistency whatsoever.
Yeah. It always helps when you're wearing a United kit, though. That
do you think?
helps.
Do you honestly think they would have got it if that had been a Villa player making a handball? Do you think they would have got it?
Well, we know that Manchester teams get penalties because you've said it. Matty Cash gave away a penalty for something very similar, like point blank range, ball hits his hand. They deemed it in an unnatural position. Mason Greenwood's unnatural position for his hand, point blank range. Sky did absolutely everything to justify the fact that it wasn't given. They barely showed a replay of it, and they were economical enough with their angles. And I wonder, is there some situation whereby, because we haven't seen it an awful lot this year, we saw probably a bit more last year, that while the phase of play is still going on, VAR have very rarely said to the ref, "Hi, that's a penalty," and he's blown it up and given the penalty during a phase of play.
Yeah, the ball didn't go out for ages, did it?
It hasn't happened for ages. Yeah. So I'm wondering if Bertrand Traore had the ball there at one stage when that game was going on. I wonder if he just boots it out of play. Do VAR go to the ref? Come here, have a look at this, please, and see what you think, because it is a handball, and I know he's very close, but we can find you 5 or 6 different instances of precedent whereby these have been given. So some of them given by VAR too. So it's one of those things whereby we've all looked for clarity of rules, and I'll say it again, we've all looked for clarity of rules and clarity of situations and standardization of the way penalties are given, but we just can't even get it with VAR. So I'm just failing to see what the hell VAR brings in instances like that. And even the fact that the commentators say VAR are looking into it, that gives you hope, and you just know it's not going to be given. So it just kind of annoys you even more.
I didn't need any more hope.
On the back of that one, Neil, I think the stat of that referee, so with that game included, I think he's refed them 7 times this season, and they won 6, and the other one was the Manchester derby at 0-0.
Yeah, so they've had pens as well, haven't they? I remember seeing before the game.
Yeah, I think so. But he's from Manchester, so he's not going to be a Man United fan, is he? So if he was from London, I'd probably be more worried of him being a Man United fan as opposed to being from Manchester. So,
but yeah, I've got no issue with their pen, no issue at all. I think it's a stonewall penalty, so the ref doesn't need to go to the screen. But does the ref not need to go to the screen for something that's quite ambiguous like that? It's down to interpretation, isn't it? So should the ref not be getting told, "Oh, you might want to have a look at that," because you could argue his hand isn't in a natural position. He's hit his hand. You should probably come and have a look at this, see what you think. The final decision should be down to the referee, not to the. I said dickheads in Stockley Park. I'm gonna stick with it. The dickheads in Stockley Park.
Yeah, it should be looked at, mate. It 100% should be looked at. I mean, the thing is, if VAR have spent that much time looking at it, they should be saying.
Even the Watkins one. Look, there is contact. Why is? I presume VAR looked at that. I don't know.
They must have.
But ref should be going to look at that, because you're sending a player off and you're missing the next game. So that's it's a critical decision.
The problem here is, though, they will stand over the clear and obvious error piece now.
But not before.
But now, in every instance.
It's pointless, isn't it? Honestly, it is just pointless. We shouldn't even be doing this show, because we're not going to be able to make sense of it.
We need to get producer Adam to title this one VAR controversy.
Just title it pointless. Honestly, it might as well be an episode of pointless. I can't get my head around some of the stuff that you see in a game, and that you see in other games. It's not just Villa. You see it in all games, but obviously I don't care as much when it happens to other teams. But it just feels like something that, again, it could have been a good day for us. Could have been, if a couple of critical decisions go our way, perhaps we've drawn the game 3-3. You know, and it's just annoying. And I'm sick of, as I say, most years of my life just losing to Manchester United at home and that just being the standard. No questions there again for either of you. I'm just throwing you into the
Yeah, I feel like this is. I feel like this is two of your mates giving you a therapy session in this one, Dan. I mean,
lying down.
This is an intervention.
Between me and Neil, we've done a fair few shows here over the last few years, and I think this is probably the most stressed I've ever seen you, Dan. And to be fair, it's the only thing making me smile, because like my mood would be all over the gaff if I weren't doing the podcast. But I'll be honest, mate, you've cheered me up.
That's good. I'm useful for something. I honestly feel like my head is going to explode. I said to you before we came, I'm just going to go to bed after this. I'm too upset. I'm too annoyed. I don't know why I even get my hopes up, though, because before, in all the previews I did and everything, I went on the Villa Talks podcast, obviously did the Villa View match preview as well. You can list the games at home to Manchester United. Alpay own goal in the last minute, 2-0 up in the cup. I think Van Nistelrooy comes on and scores a couple, 2-0 up under Julio. Makeda comes and scores his customary goal against us. We draw 2-2. The Man U fans piling on the pitch like they have done every year of my life, pretty much. You know, we just can't get it right against them. It is like a home game for them.
Is it twice in 16 years? Was it 95 and 2009? We've only beat them in like the last.
Yeah, and one of them was at Old Trafford. The Gabby head. The Gabby head.
Is that 1-0? Yeah.
Yeah, it's my second year as a season ticket holder. That was when we last beat them. I mean, Ian Taylor scored that day. Ian Taylor could have a full head of hair if he wanted at that point. That's how long ago it was we beat them at Villa Park.
The Gabby header, I remember, I just have to get in a flashback to it now. When that happened, I was working that day and I was only just flicking in and out. I had it on the radio. And then afterwards I went, right, going down the pub tonight now to rub it in United fans' faces. And I went into the pub and I wasn't out of order. All I was doing was saying, about time we bloody beat you. But they were getting seriously wound up. And the barman then turns around to me and goes, come here, if you're going to keep on winding them up, I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
Did you tell him about the record? Did you tell him about it?
I was there. He was, yeah. So
I'm saying this only happens once every 100 years.
Exactly.
I can't believe we won the Coca-Cola Cup against them in '94. Honestly, that blows my mind that we managed to do that. It's staggering. What is going on? This show's completely lost it. Is there anything else you want to talk about in the game, either?
There's some good. One good piece of news is it's just gone full time in the Women's Super League, and Aston Villa have staved off relegation. Yeah, they drew a lot. Yeah,
that is important. They really needed that. Would have been a disaster to go down after the money spent on that side of things in the summer. So that's a positive thing. Hopefully they can go the way of the men's team and just stay up, and then have a big go next year and consolidate. Because that's massive. That has cheered me up. That is good news. Shout out to the Villa women's team, because what was the score? Was it 0-0?
0-0. Yeah. And Marcus Bignot was he was nominated for coach of the month last month. He's they've had some really good results recently. So fair play to them, and they've stayed in the league against odds, really, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I did say the manager of the month thing. I think they only won one game, so to be nominated for manager of the month after one win felt quite kind to me. But they've done the job and they've got over the line, and that's a great thing. What's Dean Smith saying? Ollie Watkins has got sent off for a second yellow. There's no way the referee can tell me. I can't read my eyes. That's not good. He's
convinced he hasn't been touched. I just don't understand the decision making of the officials, and more importantly at Stockley Park. Yeah, he's got a fair point. Exactly what we've said.
What we're saying. I mean, the juggling balls have been out in full force today, haven't they, in Stockley Park and with the referee. It's just maddening. Like I so want to beat these guys. I mean, maybe we're saving it for when the fans are back in, but we just can't do it. We can't do it. And if you just lose to moments of quality, then fair enough. Cavani, to be fair, old tie's gone. Cavani's goal at the end, to be fair, it's a nice bit of moment. He's a very good player. If you lose to a bit of quality, you can take it. But to not get the decisions, them get the decisions, and to give away bad goals, I think that's what rank.
Yeah, absolutely. It's and the thing is that the talking points for the game would be magnificent Manchester United, and the fact that they've lost only the second least amount of games all year, and they were absolutely fantastic against. The context of the game gets lost very, very quickly, and that's the narrative that 3 weeks ago, was it only 3 weeks ago, we were talking about this club Well, actually, like even last week, we're talking about this club getting games, their fans getting games postponed. Premier League hasn't said a dicky bird about that other than they rescheduled it. And then Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has the gall to come out and say, this is completely unfair against us. What does he want people to do? Move the whole league back, move the whole European calendar back a week for him? I just don't understand that. They're a club of, I'll stop there because I'll just alienate every single Man United sporting colleague, friend, or acquaintance. Yeah. They'll revoke my passport. That's I'm afraid of if I continue to slag Man United. But no, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Another positive is because I can see it here on the screen is barbers are opening again in Ireland.
I thought you were going to say about Matty Target. That's popular. Apparently, Matty Target's getting a lot of love in the comments. Again, I thought he was absolutely flawless. He's brilliant, and people talk about Luke Shaw. He's been as consistent as Luke Shaw. Maybe not as productive going forward because he's not playing for Manchester United. But you know what, Target was brilliant again today.
I think I was thinking off topic of Matty Target. I think it's in a stat as well that Man United have been 1-0 down more than 1-0 up this season. To say they're second in the league, just to show you that they play better when they're one behind. And
they love it, don't they? They can't get enough of it.
Yeah, they do. But back onto Matty Target. I mean, for me, 100% most improved player on last season, without a shadow of a doubt. He's the contract extension, is a sign of intent from the owners. When you're looking at the long term of things, it shows that their message is widespread across the club. And to see it in the contracts, just shows that we're still heading in the right direction. Yeah. Although we haven't continued the form we did at the start of this season. What does that say, Dan? I can't see that.
I mean, I've got a question. Well, Max Stokes' Twitter getting put up on the Villa Viewer. That's an absolutely outrageous decision from the producer. But he does raise a valid point. I think he's very unfortunate, actually, that Luke Shaw's come back into form because Matt Target's probably, I'd say, is the next in line of left backs. If anything happens to Chilwell or Shaw, which obviously I don't wish that on anyone before the Euros, I think Southgate would have seen enough of Matt Target now to be able to trust him and think, he could play a part in the Euros. If anything happens to either of them, I think he'll be in because I think he's the next best English left back at the moment.
Shaw had to get the form, mate, after they bought Alex Tellers. Solskjaer made it clear that Alex Tellers is a quality left back. I know he's come from abroad, but he's a quality left back.
He didn't come to sit on the bench, I don't think.
Neither do I, mate. I mean, I don't think he'll last long there, but I think Shaw needed that for a kick up the backside, so fair play to him that he's found his form when he's come in, because if there's a time to do it, it's a time when you've got competition on your heels.
Yeah, I should say I'm not knocking Manchester United today for anything, although I'm annoyed. It's not really an annoyance at Manchester United. It's more of a bit of an annoyance at Villa's little mini capitulation and also at the officiating and the inconsistency. Yeah. But Manchester United, they're heading in the right direction. I think they're completely going the right way. And over the last few years, I've looked at it and thought, I'm not sure what they're doing here. I'm not sure what they're trying to be. I think now you see them under Solskjaer, you can see there's visible progress, and I think they'll 2 or 3 more players in, and they'll be real contenders next year up there to challenge for the title again.
Agreed. Yeah, and I think they will go and they will spend regardless because, I think a lot of teams will see that. Like Liverpool did it last year. It's very hard to sustain it over 2 years now in the Premier League. So Man City might be in a bit of a down year next year. No Aguero, Fernandinho will be a year older. This year an awful lot they've relied on their defence to keep them in games. So maybe teams like United, Chelsea might see a small bit of blood in the water with that Man City team. If they go, they could strengthen a small bit more and maybe have a crack at the top. I suppose kind of like ourselves, the way we're looking at teams there in the middle of the pack, the likes of Everton, the likes of Spurs. I would say that Dean Smith smells a bit of blood in the water with teams like that and says, look, we could leapfrog these teams. And look, for Leeds are just like, they just won't go away. They keep on. Stuart Dallas just seems to turn into bloody, I don't know, Roberto Carlos every time he steps.
Tell you what, when that guy's on my fantasy football bench, he can't wait to score. When he's in my team, he doesn't want to know. But when he's my last choice sub, he decides to absolutely come alive. Just Stuart Dallas. Let's get that league table up again, please, Adam, because we're still really. I mean, 8th is achievable. It's looking unlikely with Everton, obviously, even having a game in hand on it, even us, the game in hand king. So you'd think they're probably going to get 8th.
They've got Everton.
Obviously, we've still got to play them.
Haven't they? They've got
West Ham, we've still got to play them again.
Champions League.
Yeah, but you'd look at that and think they're probably going to do it, But 8th, 9th is still achievable at this point of the season, which after 34 games, I think, again, I don't like harping on about it, but if you'd have told anyone last season that this would be the case, we'd have absolutely snapped your hand off for it. So there's still a chance to end the season well. Today is really, really frustrating. There's been other frustrating games as well, none more so than today for me. I've really taken this defeat really badly, but it was still, there's still a chance of 8th, still a chance of 9th, still a chance to turn around and say at the end of the season, that's a really, really strong season from Aston Villa, and we're going to go and have a good go next season.
I agree. Yeah.
Let's go before I explode, or unless you've got a good point to make here now.
No, I was just trying to fill the time saying, and you know me, when transfer time comes up, me, when the transfers are coming in, that's all I was going to say there.
The Villa Views chief scout. I'm looking forward to doing some transfer shows with you over the summer now. Yeah. Let's go, because as I said, I think I'm getting as red as Manchester United's home shirt. But by the end of this, this has been a disgraceful performance from myself. Quick mention for Purity before we go: you can get 10% off your order at Purity Ale. I mean, they're going to have to send me some emergency stock, I think, and get it couriered over to me right now because I'm absolutely seething. But use the code #VillaView and you'll get 10% off. Don't forget to like this video, and also you can subscribe to us on YouTube with your post notifications on. Give us some love in the comments as well if you have enjoyed the show. Thanks to Ty, thanks to Neil. We'll be back at some point next week. Where we're playing Thursday, so there'll probably be a preview around Tuesday or Wednesday, and hopefully I'll have calmed down a little bit, and there'll also be the post-match point on Thursday as well after the Everton game. Have a good rest of the weekend. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.